Hey, James from Ace of Spades Custom RV. Back on the bar project here, or continuation thereof. So what we're going to do today is install an awning rail. And this is the front curtain of the awning fabric. So it'll be hanging roughly about yay much. And it'll be sticking out, probably I would say about 16 to 18 inches, I believe. So I think that's going to look super cute. It looks really good with the red wheel. And then the bar top has that red band. So I think it all ties in quite well. I really like it. So that's what we're doing today. And then we are also installing vintage style clearance lights. Okay, so there will be 5 on the front and 5 on the front and 5 on the rear. They light up their LED, very a teardrop style vintage look, and they'll be going up there. So we'll be hooking that up today. While the coach is being in use, the tail lights will be on as well as all the clearance lights be on. So when you're competing for attention inside a big food hall, I think having the lights on the outside just, it's that little spark that just, an eyeball will just look over on the far corner and say, hey, what's over there? What's that about? So I think it's a real cool touch. And being that they're LED, they can be on all day, every day. They're cool to the touch. They don't heat up. And the bulbs last a very, very long time. So this morning when I came in, I finished filling all the screw holes, color matching with the wax crayon fill sticks from Mohawk. They're really great. And just going over everything. And then I also trimmed out the bottom with the aluminum to finish off the wheel well. I don't have to do the bottom edge because it is a rolled edge. We ordered the sheet metal that way, and that's how a lot of trailers are finished off. It's wrapped around, so there's no sharp points. That looks really good. And I'm super pleased about this neon strip here, the rope lighting. I just think that's so nice. It's bright, but it's not in your face. And with the lights off, because the food hall will be at nighttime, they'll have lights on the inside of the building, but it's still going to create a nice atmosphere. So this light will actually shine right down. It's right down here, and it splits off to the inside as well as it will illuminate the bar top. So that's the plan, and enough talking about it. Let's just get into it. Okay, so it's clearance light time. Super excited. What I did was I put tape here. I measured up from the window because this is what we want the lights to be parallel to this frame. So you use body lines, you use whatever measurements you have to make things all parallel. So I ended up drawing my holes, and lo and behold, here are my wires. So that all worked out good. And there's wires here. Gotta be careful what I'm pulling. Okay, so that's there, and then there should be some wires here. That end. Oh, there they are. Look at that. Life is good. And then there should be wires here somewhere. Oh, I did feel them. Okay, they're up there. Okay. And what do we got here? So that's all my connectors. Okay, so that's the feed out. This is the feed here, that's out. This, I was pretty sure I fed that out. I could be wrong. Okay, so that's the feed there for that. And did I not cut this out? Okay, so there's a 4. That would have been silly of me. Oh, I feel some other wires here. Oh, today is a good day. I did not mess up, so there you go. Okay, here's our wires.
Can you show us the lights down here?
Yep. Okay, so these are the bases. They do come with foam inserts that you can see in the box there. Now, if this was a trailer that was going to go outside, you could use a putty tape or a butyl tape underneath and seal it. This has a slight curve to it, and it actually matches my roof perfectly without having to bend this. This is slightly bendable, but I do mean slightly. But look at that. I mean, just, it is beyond perfect. So super static there. This isn't going to see a drop of rain because it's going to be mounted inside, indoors. So we're just going to hook up the wires. These are the lights here. They will be going through here like that. We'll hook up the wire connection, screw the base on, and then this just gets clipped into the chrome base with these little spring clips. So that's how we're going to do that. All right, connection time. So I think in this particular case, we could use those fancy Wago connectors that I've talked about, but I think in this particular case, I think I'm going to just go with the standard crimp connectors. So that's what we'll go with. All right, I'm gonna find the tools. All right, so here we are putting them in. Again, it's never going to see rain, so I don't have to put butyl tape or putty tape or any sealant for that fact. Feels a little weird not to have to do that, but it's good. Sure are nice looking.
Are these 5 lights traditional to Shasta's?
Yeah, so I've seen trailers with just 3. I've seen trailers with just 2 on the ends. So when you're building your own trailer and so forth, you want to check with DOT, or up in Canada, it's the Transport Canada. So they have rules and regulations as far as trailers, what type of trailers, heights, how bright the clearance lights are. Pretty much every clearance light and tail light out on the market is going to conform to the regulations, so you don't really have to worry about that. Spacing is important. This one I just went with, I stood back and made sure it looks good. Again, this isn't going down the road at all, so but this is pretty much where they would be on a real trailer going down the road. So it's not super critical for measurements and so forth. The rules and regulations give you quite a good range of measurements to go by. And then I wanted a lot of eye candy. I wanted it to look good from afar, from across the hall, so we're going with 5. So I could have just went with 2 on the outside, but hey, we're Vegas. We like glittery stuff down here, so we're doing 5. We're doing 5 on the front and 5 on the rear. So that's Vegas style for you. All right, so the moment of truth, cross your fingers and your toes. I'm going to turn the lights on and hopefully they all come on. Yay or nay?
Yay.
Hey, look at that. We know what we're doing. Today, we know what we're doing. And that's a good day. Some days, well, leaves a little bit. Being plastic, I don't want to force it too much. Look at that, would you? Look at that. Gorgeous.
And we just got these on Amazon.
Yep.
What are they called on Amazon?
Grody is one major brand that these are, I think, are just like a knockoff. I don't know what brand. I can't read it. But again, I mean, this is pretty much. Trailer Vintage Supply also has these lights. Pretty good price. They come in LED as well as conventional bulb. The conventional bulb is a warmer look, but because these are going to be on all day, every day, I went with the LED just for longevity. I don't want to be called back every few months and have to replace the lights. So this is a bit of cooler light, but it's also got a little bit of sparkle, which is good for Vegas too. So we went with the LEDs for those reasons. And that, folks, is the back clearance lights. So we'll go back ways and look at it and see if we enjoy it. Well, I can't really move it now, but anyway, we're going to be moving to the front, and we're going to do the amber lights on the front to match. Looking sharp. Alright, so these are going to be the amber front lights, spaced the exact same on the back end, and I'm just feeding the wires, hooking them up. Now you'll notice that a lot of wiring in RVs will be red and black, and the red is going to should be your positive and your black should be negative. Now when you see lights and so forth, they've got black and white. If you're wondering, 9 times out of 10 the white is ground, always ground. So I would be hooking up the black, not to the black, but black to the red. And because I know that the black is hot, okay? Some lights, like incandescent lights with an incandescent light bulb, they don't really care which way the wires are hooked up. They just don't care. However, the LEDs, there's little resistors and diodes and so forth, little circuit board, and that is voltage sensitive, the polarity sensitive. So you have to make sure you're hooking up the positive to positive and negative to negative, or the negative, when I say that, I mean ground. So same thing. So we're just hooking these up. Simple crimp connection with the dedicated crimpers. Make sure you always feed the wires in through the housing first. So LED lights, see, I almost hooked that up on. So you got to pay attention when doing electrical. You just really have to pay attention. Now, another thing about wiring, like Winnebagos, specifically, they just use 2 colors for all their wires, yellow and white. All the whites are grounds and all the yellows are hots. So if you got, a big, huge housing of wires and there's 30 yellow ones, how do you know what's what? All the grounds are grounds, so we don't really care about that. But what they do specifically is they actually number all their wires. So along the wires, it's actually printed with its own unique serial number that goes throughout the whole entire length of the wires. So it's a little bit easier to trace wires too. I think there's 1 or 2 other manufacturers that do that. And it's kind of neat. It's how they do that. So I'm just gonna attach the screws into here. if I have the screws, which I think I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I came prepared. Again, no sealant, no butyl tape, because it's not seeing the outdoors. And as you can see, as I'm mounting it, there is that slight curve that I mentioned in the housing. It just follows the my sheet metal. Just, I mean, doesn't get a whole lot better than that. That's a proud moment. Just works out. I love it. This project has actually gone pretty good. Not a whole lot of, but one thing a lot of people don't realize is I take all my work home with me. I pretty much I'm thinking about work all the time. It's very hard for me to disconnect from work. So when I go home at night, and I should be kind of relaxing and so forth, my head still keeps going, and I'm actually thinking about the next steps down the line. When doing a build like this, my brain is actually about 15 to 20 steps ahead of the game. So I plan out pretty much everything that I'm going to do. Thank you. And then when I come in, I'm kind of all fresh and ready with a good game plan. And that's how you got to approach these builds. Nothing is ever textbook. Very rare that you get a textbook moment. You cherish those when you get them. Now, my light switch happens to be right here. And look at that. That's a lovely thing. That is a lovely sight. For those of you who subscribe to our channel, I do appreciate that. That means a lot to me. It means that you care enough about what we're doing here. And I think it's interesting myself. I watch other custom car builders and so forth. I have yet to find anyone doing the RVs. So I think it's just neat. You know, one of my favorite shows growing up was How It's Made, and this is pretty much how it's made. I'm taking you through the steps and showing you how it's done, so it's pretty cool. There we go. All right, we'll call that done. All right, so getting on to the awning rail, because we are doing a little Juliet kind of style awning, just coming out about 16 inches, and it's just decoration. It's just for decor. So this is an awning rail. This is where the awning fabric with a plastic spline inside is fed, and it holds onto here, and all the fabric is here and hangs off of this. So we looked at this. Now this is a curved roof. One option would be to go straight, but that's not typically how it's done. It is on an RV, it's done with a straight line and so forth. But you can see the curved roof goes all the way here, and our window goes all the way here. So if we were to do a straight, it would almost take us down here and so forth, but it just wouldn't look right. It just, we don't want this feeling claustrophobic either, and we don't want to lose the sight of this curved roof since we worked so hard on that. So one option was to go on top like this and put the screws. I didn't like that. Another option is to tuck the molding underneath. However, this molding does not want to bend. Okay, it would bend really easily around like this if we laid this flat, but that would look goofy and so forth. Fortunately, I do have a shrinker and a stretcher, okay? And what that is it's a tool that, so if you see there's little teeth marks here, so the tool will actually grip onto any metal, and it will grip it, and it will pull it, it'll shrink it this way. And when it pulls it together, this molding bends this way. If you use the stretcher, it'd bend the other way. And I just did a little quick experiment with the shrinker stretcher, and it's working really great. So we're gonna, this isn't perfect, that you can see that's got some sharp bends, but I'll just fine tune all that with the new piece, and we will get this curve fitting just right. And I really like it, and that way we can take this all the way down to here, which is where we want it. So I think we'll go, actually I think we'll go all the way down to here, terminate it here instead of having it up here. And that way our awning will just come to the end of this window, which will look really good, cute. And we'll have the same on the back side. So that's how we're going to solve that. And
that's how traditionally the Shastas are done.
yeah.
That's what they look like.
Yeah. Now, on the Shastas, it would most likely, there's different types of moldings. So this is known as a mill finish. It's just raw bare aluminum. This is a tougher aluminum that is painted. It's powder coated white paint on it. You can also get them in black. The white one, painted ones are just a little harder. I think the aluminum, I'm not 100% sure, but I think the aluminum toughens up because they bake the aluminum, the paint onto the aluminum. And I think within that process, it makes it a little tougher to bend versus raw aluminum. So another good nice point about putting it on the side here is I've got this little oops, which I talked about before as well. So this is where the saw sort of slipped. So look at that, that's going to cover that up just fine. So happy days. We'll use white screws. And so the next process is starting to shape it, cut it and shape it. And then because there's all these little teeth mark, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little bit of sandpaper, clean that up, and just shoot it with some white paint so it looks perfect. And that's the way we're doing that. So this is the stretcher shrinker. So it's actually marked on each one. So this one's shrinking. This one's
Stretching.
Stretcher. Okay, so it's because it's aluminum, it will move quite easily. You don't want to rush this. Take your time with it. This is a great tool. Now, if I stretch it too much, I can actually just put it in the stretcher and undo it.
Have you ever used this tool before?
Yep. This is invaluable for things like this. Mm-hmm. Absolutely invaluable. Mm-hmm. Okay. Good.
We've been up and down 500 times.
What's that?
We've gone up and down 500 times. We're getting there.
Yeah, it's a work in progress.
It's happening, yeah.
A little less there. Okay. So I'm going to be stretching it, which will pick this up.
Okay.
This is custom, baby. Custom!
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about. Hey, okay, we're back. We're back. We're working on audio. It's a learning process, so we do have a mic, and that seems to help. But anyway, we're just thanks for sticking with us and going through our dead spots, and we'll try and make sure that we cover anything in the videos that got kind of deleted audio wise. So today we're going to be sticking up the awning rail. It's sitting right here. I did sand out those little shrinker stretch marks that I showed earlier, and I painted it with a nice hard epoxy white enamel paint. Uh, Now, for those of you that do want to build a vintage trailer on your own and you're doing these kind of curved moldings, it does help to pre-bend it. You saw me work it on my knee. That helps as well. Not great for the knees, but it works great. You don't have to get it perfect, but because there is some flex in the aluminum itself, but you want to get it as close as possible. For And I just want to show you, like this is a very stiff molding here, very stiff. And just putting it in the shrinker, I was able to achieve a really super tight bend. I don't think I could go much more than that, but that is just insanely easy. And, just to get that much movement in a molding that's very stiff, it just shows you that with the right tools you can achieve a lot. And this did not take much time at all. You can see that it does deform the metal a little bit, so you would come in here and just sand this smooth, so it just looks good, as well as you just sand, start with like an 80 grit and then go up to about a 120 or 150 or so. You can go a little bit finer than that, up to like a 240, and then just paint it with a good quality enamel paint, and then you're rocking, you're back in business. So, and then if you were doing the mill aluminum, which is just a raw bare aluminum, you would just sand it and sort of and then get all the sand or the stretching marks out, and then you would take a Scotch-Brite pad like a burgundy, and you would just clean it up, and it helps disguise any of the fine scratches. All right. So in the previous video, you saw me talking about the wings. So what got missed in the audio was we ended up buying these actually online off of Amazon. There is a young gentleman back east in Indiana that does make these from scratch. And I was thinking of building them myself, which I certainly could do. It is a little tough getting this particular profile of aluminum molding. He, being in Elkhart, Indiana, which is the mother of all, the motherland of all RVs, he was able to source it out, but still he has a bit of trouble. He did a really nice job. I mean, I can't find any fault with it. It's really nice. He's got the exact profiled aluminum here, and then he also puts all the aluminum and the edge trim over an aromatic cedar base. And so it's this wood being cedar, it will weather really well if it gets wet. That's why there's no sealant here around the perimeter. The price was right, and I like supporting other people as well. So he did a great job, and it just makes this trailer really look phenomenal. Very solid, so you can always source him out. He's really good. So today we're doing the awning rail install. We can't quite do the bar top yet, simply because we're trying to determine the height. There are going to be stools in the food common area, and we want to try and get that height as perfect as possible. Chairs could be modified. If they're too tall, we could cut the chairs down if need be. It's hard to raise the chairs up. It's doable, but it's tougher. It's easier to drop stool. So that's just an unknown thing. We're ready to go. I've got all the brackets, and the bar top is made. It's just a matter of getting it all dialed in. And then so we did the clearance lights yesterday. That worked out famously. We did the undermount light here, or the down light LED strip, and the USBs. And then we'll be working on the fake barn wood going on the walls today. So that's pretty much going to be the whole day. It's a full day, and we'll share that with you. So stay tuned. Really happy with the way that looks. It's just perfect. I'm really glad we used a shrinker stretcher. It makes it conform. You don't really see it, and especially when the fabric is in there, it's going to disappear even more. So got a nice, pretty even gap all the way through. The paint looks good. Couldn't be much happier about that. All right, so we're setting up the workspace to do the PVC wall tiles, the LVT, luxury vinyl tiles on the wall. These are, I think they're 2 millimeter thick or 2.5 millimeter thick. They're nice and thin. They're flexible. It should go pretty well. So we're going to be doing this entire wall. That's basically the backdrop to the main seating area, which is the big bar window. Then we're also going to take and cover this one as well. The ceiling and the front and the rear wall will all be white. We want to make this look as light and bright as we can. However, the barnwood is a little bit darker, but that's why we're keeping the middle field all white. What I've done is we've actually used two different color variations of not all the same flooring. It's the same brand, same patterns and so forth. It's just a different color lot. And what I've managed to do is basically sort this out into 5 groups. So you can see that these ones are really more whitish. These ones are all silver. And what we've got here is quite dark. And then these ones are more brownish. So we like to have it nice, staggered, varied in color, so it looks a little more balanced as well. So we're very strategic about the way we place the flooring. That group over there is really dark. We don't really want that up higher. Now, all around the perimeter is going to be cabinetry. It's going to be stainless steel cabinetry of some sort, tables. I'm not sure what there's going to be a kitchen designer that's involved in this project. That's their goal. They're going to do the inside, which is fine by me because I originally wanted to do wood cabinets, but that got poo-pooed by the inspector. So that's okay. The company that we're working with, they are used to doing commercial kitchens, so that is their strong suit. So it only makes sense for me to sort of surrender and let them do what they do best. So I'm focusing on the interior as far as the decor of it, obviously the structure and so forth. And then we made the outside as beautiful, and we work with the customer's branding. So we've made it as cute as we can possibly make it, and I just love it. I think it's turning out real well. Our customers have actually seen pictures of the progress. They're super happy with it. So that's a win-win. So we're just going to continue on. It's going to take me a good part of probably 2 days. You know, I'm a little fussy, and we've got all these cuts all around the perimeter. It's all curved. There's no, you know, no rhyme or reason, no square cuts here. So, and we've got curves. So it takes time to scribe around the pieces. I'm not going to bore you with every single piece, but we'll just do step by step as we go along, so you can see the progress happening. We are now. This is flooring, however, it is approved for hanging onto a wall, and we are using the manufacturer's recommended um, adhesive. And this particular company likes Liquid Nails Fuse It. It's quite tacky, so I've already spilled some on the cardboard as well. But this has been sitting for about 10 minutes, and it's very tacky. So I think it's going to be a good candidate for installation. I'm liking it so far. You can use just a caulking gun. I'm using, because I'm doing such a large amount, I'm using my air caulking gun, which I really, really like. This one comes out of China somewhere. I took a chance. The price was right, and it was just off Amazon. And this happens to be the best air pneumatic caulking gun that I've ever owned. I've had a red one that's an offshore one as well, and that one was very, very finicky, and basically it got to the point where it just wasn't going to work anymore. This one has been virtually bulletproof. I couldn't be happier. So that's what we're using. You know, it's just simple trigger on off. I'm not squeezing, pumping all day long, which helps wear and tear on me and speeds up the job as well. So we've got our nice grouping. We're going to start with a straight line, start at the bottom, work our way up. And on that note, I just want to extra little note here for all of you 26 people that subscribed. We really help it, or we really appreciate it, and we hope you come back and watch. You know, just basically a day in the life of every day of what we go through customizing RVs and custom building them from scratch. It's a unique part of the trade, and I like to share with people. So if you want to see certain things or certain tasks that we do in more detail, do you want me to describe things more, describe things less? You know, this is for your education and your benefit. So I'm not doing this for my health. It's just a way of giving back. And so that's very important to us. And it's important for you to give us that feedback. So if you subscribe, do notifications, tell your friends and family about it too. I mean, they might be interested in what we're doing here on a daily basis. So if you do all that good stuff, as everyone says, that helps us to tailor what we're doing to help you guys, and gets it out there. So let's get on with the project. Okay, so all I'm doing is just taking a slightly damp rag here, and this particular glue is activated by water, so it helps speed up makes it more tacky quicker. You don't want any dust, so it helps to just make sure the backside is clean. And I'm still kind of setting up here, folks, so it looks discombobulated, but we're getting there. Okay, nice thin bead and an S. Now, when you're applying glue, and this goes for anything, flooring, walls, plywood, and so forth, when you're putting caulk, you never want to do a full circle. What happens is, if I were to make a circle on this, the gases can't escape, if that makes any sense. And what happens is the glue, sometimes particular glues, they won't even dry because they can't off gas. So it's just a little pro tip. So you just don't want to do that. So you want to always do like an open S shape, okay? Okay, and then it also helps to peel this off and just see if you got good adhesion, and that was pretty good. Now I'm gonna go get a roller, and that's gonna help spread out some of the glue as well. Okay. So you can technically cut this with a knife. So you'll see me use a good sharp utility knife. I also use my saw, my chop saw. I've got it set up extremely accurate for nice cuts. And then I also use my table saw. So it's just a little more accuracy, I think a little more speed. Cutting this with a knife, even though it's a super sharp blade, it's a bit of a workout. So I just believe in accuracy and working a little smarter and not harder. So now another method here, because we want the seams to look good. So if we go like this with an S patterns, there's no glue basically around the perimeter. So what we're going to do is I'm going to switch it up here and mark like that. Okay, and you can see that I'm leaving some gaps in there as well for the air to go, and we can just do a little extra love. So you don't have to put a big bead. This glue is pretty darn good. You can also smoosh it into place too. And then a roller. It really helps for a laminate trimmer. Okay, so that looks good. Double check your joints. Make sure they're good. Okay, and then a million more cuts. So another thing, I mentioned that pile of dark ones. So as I was saying, there's going to be a lot of stainless steel cupboards and so forth. And we want to keep this a little lighter tone. So we're going to put more of the heavy, dark ones more along the bottom as a backdrop to the stainless steel counters that are going in here, because no one's ever going to see it. And it just gives us more material to do a lighter upper topper above the countertop. So anyway, that's what we're going to focus on. So there you go. It also helps to mix the boxes up as well. So because in a particular box, you'll get more of a uniform color as it's coming off the press at the factory. So when you're mixing it, you get a little bit more color variation, which is what you want. You don't want to have an area that's super monotonous with the same patterns and same colors. So that's why I do the piles, and that way I just can pull from the piles to exactly what I want. Okay. Do we want to do that one? Yeah, sure. Okay. These are just dividers, and I've taped a marker, a nice sharp marker to it, so helps doing the scribing. Okay, and we're going to have to turn off the light here, or undo the power cords here too. Let's see here. Let's go cut this. Just drilled the hole. These are just 12-volt wires going through here, so there's nothing, we don't really have to protect it. Okay, then we're going to mark this. And what we want to do is we want to leave a tiny bit of a gap here for a little bit of expansion, contraction. And then we're also going to be putting a bead of translucent, clear silicone on it, just in case we have little bits of a tiny bit of gap or it wants to shrink and expand, it will hide that. So a translucent silicone, there's clear, there's white, there's other colors. A translucent starts off clear and it sort of ends up, it dries to be translucent, which means it's like a fogged window essentially, and that really helps. And what's nice is if it's clear, you'll see everything right through the clear, but the translucent, if you've got a little gap, it will pick up on the color beside or of whatever you're doing, whatever material, and it sort of takes a bit of that color and it sort of transfers through the silicone and it helps make it look perfect even though it's not. So that's another little tech tip, if I explain that right. All right, so you can see I've put some glue on. I'm keeping it a little more towards the perimeter. It will be smooshing out as well. And then I am leaving these open spots for the glue to off gas. Very important. Mucho importante. So once you get going, it's not too bad. Now all this tape you see here, so your floor is going to be a little irregular, and this floor has got a slight crown to it. So what we do is we use the tape to help hold the panels together to prevent them from slipping down and so forth. So that's what that's all about, if you're curious. It also helps that when you place the tile, you can actually just move it sideways a little and then wiggle it, and it helps sort of smoosh out that glue. And then come behind and roll it out. Now, I don't know if you can see or not, but our walls do flex because it's only just a 1/4 inch plywood, which is actually only 3/16 of an inch thick. So yeah, that's why. So it's nice having a thinner board on here because it will help conform to the wall. It's not bad. It's pretty straight, pretty flat. And this just helps when you go to put the other panels. It helps prevent the existing panels from moving or skating around. So that's the purpose of the tape, and it helps keep your joints nice and tight. So any masking tape and just smoosh it on there. What you want when you're laying out your pattern, you want the joint staggered. You don't really want a joint any closer than about 6 inches is kind of the rule of thumb. And it helps to stagger your color. Now, this is a little more uniform. We're going to be using, as I said, a lot of the darker ones down here because you're just not going to see it. All the pretty stuff is going to be from here up. So we want that a little lighter, brighter, freer. So that's why I'm kind of hoarding and saving the good lighter ones like this and whiter and the light browns and so forth. So that's the reasoning behind that. So you can see this has been what, 10-15 minutes that we've been able to do 4 courses plus some cuts. I think maybe 20 minutes. So the higher up we go, it's going to get easier. So you can start to see now this is a lot of dark in this corner here. I don't really care anyway because I actually have to build a box to house the converter and the battery. So the battery, those are going to be sitting here. So I don't mind these really dark pieces here because you're not even really going to see it after it's boxed in. So all right, onward and upward. All right, so quick update here. So this is going very well, and this has been approximately 2 hours, and we've gone through about 1.5 tubes of sealant or tubes of adhesive. So that's to give you an idea. Um, I don't know if I had explained or not, but we are continuing this all the way through, including the door. So let me just close the door here. We don't have a handle on there yet. So yeah, the pattern is just going to continue all the way through, all the way to that wall, and it'll look sharp. So then what we're doing here is we're putting the same brown laminate trim. So I'll make my own door header and down, and that will just finish that off. In addition, we are putting those two lantern light sconce, wall sconces there. They are jelly jar style lanterns. I believe we've got a big sign like this. I believe we're putting it here, signage for Diane's Bloody Marys. And then we're going to most likely do some shelving. If we are doing the shelving, we will do it out of the same brown laminate, and it'll make it pop a little bit. And then she can display her ready-made drinks in the bottles. So she has her own bottling line. It's a really good product. So it's nice to be able to display that for her. So as I say, onward and actually upward. All right. All right, so this is the end of our work day. Made great progress. I really like how this turned out. We'll be putting the jam jelly or the jelly jar lights up tomorrow. I don't want to risk doing it now because we are putting screws through here, so the screws technically could try and lift this up. It would maybe suck it back down. Anyway, just not worth the risk right now. Just let this dry over 24 hours, which is what most adhesives require. I really like the placement. You can see, you know, that the dark to light to medium. It's got a nice staggered appearance. And now all these boards, or we'll call them boards, all these panels are the same length. So sometimes when I'm doing this, I will actually cut down a few pieces and inject smaller ones, and it just helps to break it up. So otherwise it just looks a little too monotonous. I'm not too worried about in here, simply because we might have some signage. We will definitely have some shelving in here. We'll have the jam jelly jars. So that's going to break up this whole space. So even though we've got a lot of the same length boards and so forth going on, it's actually just going to kind of blend away. So tomorrow we are going to just keep working our way across the door to that wall. And since things have gone so swimmingly well, we will most likely get the other side done all by the end of tomorrow, and that's our goal, and I can't see a problem with that. So thank you for tuning in with us. Again, like, subscribe, and all that good stuff that everybody else says. So apparently I have to say it too. We really do appreciate you coming along for the ride. This has been a fun build, and I can't wait for it to be done, for you all to see it. And if you want to see it in person, well, you'll have to come to Vegas. Oh shoot, darn, right? Mm-hmm. It's a great excuse. I have to go see that trailer in Vegas, honey, right? So book the flights and come on down. We'll show it to you. So I'm very happy. This is looking good. It's not as good as real barnwood. Nothing is a true replacement for that. But again, our hands are tied, and you know that's the way it is. So we'll do the best we can with what we've got, and make everyone happy. All right, have a good day. Going home? Yeah. All right. Donuts and everything. Cool. All right, let's head her, boys. Boing, boing, boing. Fuck me. Love it. No, this ain't gonna work. That's going to move all over the freaking place. Oh, just fantastic. Exactly what I freaking need here. Good Lord. Oh, a fucking joy. Good Lord. Fuck. Be nice if the pen wasn't rocking and rolling all over the fucking place. I gotta be able to put this damn cap back on here so it doesn't dry out. That doesn't fit worth shit. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. There we go. That's good enough. Okay. Now what we're going to do I do a small piece in there? What the hell? All right, good enough. Are you filming? Oh. Get to see me struggle here. Everyone loves that.